talking about my top 10 favorite slasher horror films. Let's just get started. Okay, coming in 10th place is Prom Night. And Prom Night is on my list because I love Jamie Lee Curtis. One, her being in it made the whole movie amazing. And I love, like I said, I love Jamie Lee Curtis in the film. It makes the film so good. Like, she is just such a good actress, and a lot of other people in the film are good actors too. I really didn't expect, who the killer was. Some people don't like it because they feel like it kind of goes slow. It kind of goes slow. To me, I just like it. It doesn't really go that slow. I love Prom Night. I did a horror battle on it, and I love it so much. 9th place, I have Black Christmas, which is a Christmas type of horror film. It's around the winter Christmas time. I love this movie because, first of all, I love Christmas movies, even if they're not like all jolly and holly and it just has that Christmas feel, even though it's like slasher horror film. I love the killer. Oh my god, Billy, it's just so creepy. I love how you never actually see him, and I love, how there's like the phone call and they just think it's like a prank call. I love prank calls, honestly. When people prank call me, I just go along with it. I love prank calls. I love prank calling people, but you always have that like feeling, what if this is a crazy person that got my number? You never know. I love everything about this film. I think it's so entertaining, so scary, so creepy. The kills are fantastic. Why am I hitting my hand? Coming in 8th place is Terror Train. I also did a horror battle on this, obviously. Prom Night and Terror Train, kind of versatile. Jamie Lee Curtis is in this once again. I love how it takes place on a train. I love the actual acting. I love the kills. I love the killer. A lot of people don't really see too much enjoyment in this film, but to me, I find this movie so entertaining, so good, so everything. I just love to repeat myself apparently. But no, definitely check this movie out if you haven't. I think it's such a good watch. Terror Train, it's a great film. Jamie Lee Curtis is fantastic, as always. Scream Queen, hello! She's gonna be in the new show, Scream Queens. Perfect for it. It has Jamie Lee Curtis written all over it. It's gonna be on Fox September 22nd if you wanted to check it out. Coming in 7th place is a movie that I always will enjoy, no matter how technical there's issues with it and everything like that. I love this movie. I Know What You Did Last Summer. I Know What You Did Last Summer is such a cheesy, classic 90s film. I have read the novel. I actually read it in my English class in 7th grade. We couldn't watch the movie because it was R-rated, but we read the book, and honestly, I enjoyed it so much. There's so many details. I love how the story is not just in the movie. I love how they kind of execute it. There's some things in the film that doesn't really happen in the book, and some things that are different, obviously. I love how it's again kind of with, there's notes I know what you did last summer. I just love the whole creepy thing. Your heart drops to your stomach. You don't know what people think because a group of teens murdered someone and they swore not to ever say anything, but somehow someone knows, and you're just so confused, how does this one person know? Is it in the group of friends? It's just so much conspiracy and mystery going on in the film, and I love it, and that's why it's number 7 on my list. I love. And then there's I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, and I Always Know What You Did Last Summer. Those movies are okay, Coming in at number 6 is a Sleepaway Camp, and I used to always watch these films on the Chiller channel. I don't know if you have it or you know what I'm talking about, but Sleepaway Camp is one of those campy type of woodsy type of horror, backwood type of horror movies. This girl named Angela, she comes, to this camp for the summer. Angela has just been through a lot, and she's an outcast. She's all alone, and then there's a bunch of deaths that start happening on the camp, and it's just another kind of slasher film. You have to figure out what's happening, who's doing this, what, why. And this is one of the most crazy, outrageous endings in the film. Luckily, I went into the film not knowing the end. For some reason, I just never got spoiled for me. People would always talk about how it was spoiled for them, but personally, the movie was never spoiled for me, so yay me! And I watched it, and the ending totally caught me off guard. It's definitely a different ending. It's not what you think's gonna happen. It's totally, like, not even within the story, kinda. It's just such a weird ending. I feel like that's something, like, the writers just took in. Maybe they thought the story wasn't good enough, so they're like, oh, let's just throw this in and make it that really spur of the moment type of thing. Number 5 on my list is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It is one of those more gruesome, macabre type of slasher films. I love Leatherface. I love whole crazy family. I love how it's so weird and creepy and eerie and kind of like gritty. Also, I love how they have, you know, it's in Texas, and you know, they have the whole narrator in the beginning of the film. The acting was good. The only thing that I heard, it was just so hard for the actors on set and directors and crew and everything for filming, because it was like 1,000 degrees outside. They just suffered a lot to make this movie, and at first it wasn't doing so well, but over time, like, it got good and didn't get a lot of recognition at first, but because it was just something totally different from what other people have seen and during that time period. I really like, it's a classic in my eyes. I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so yeah. At number 4 on my list is definitely a movie that I love so much. Scream, starring Drew Barrymore, David Arquette. I don't know the other girl's name that plays Sydney. This is really embarrassing. Scream, I love how it makes fun of horror films. I love how it makes fun of itself. The iconic Ghostface voice. I love the first 5-10 minutes of the film with Drew Barrymore. It just sets the scene of the film and how she was so close to surviving. Literally just a phone call away. It's kind of like dramatic irony. So close to it, and it's just so sad how it ends for her, and then it just sets the scene for the rest of the film. And I'm actually watching the new Scream TV series on MTV. I mean, I can't say I'm a fan of The Mask, but I can definitely say I'm a fan of the show so far. You know, so far so good. Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about Scream. It's a classic. It's just such a comedic horror type of film that I could watch over and over and over again and love to this day. Okay, top 3. Here we go. Coming in 3rd place is A Nightmare on Elm Street. I've watched this film a good amount of times. I love Freddy Krueger. I love the glove. I love Robert Englund. I love the story, the nightmare whole type of situation, how he gets you in his nightmares. It's completely different from what other people have done. And I love how Wes Craven just brought it to the table, not knowing if people were going to like it or not. He just does whatever he wants, and I love that and appreciate that about him. I think he's so cool. Special effects are so cool. This movie never, like, scared me or anything. But I did love it. You know, it's just so enjoyable, and I feel like even if you're not a horror movie fan, like, my friends watch it and they don't really like horror films. You know, they like it, so I just love this movie. I love this movie so much. 2nd place, I have Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th is my 2nd favorite horror franchise of all time. Whenever I used to go to Blockbuster, I'd always go, like, to the horror section and always pick out, like, Friday the 13th movies to watch with my grandma at night, and it would be so much fun because these movies are so campy, but especially the first one is, I love the first one. You have, obviously, Jason's mom, Pamela Voorhees, you know, she's the killer. That was a huge twist. Like, I feel like no one saw that coming, you know, during the time it came out, but obviously over the years people kind of found out. I highly recommend Friday the 13th if you haven't checked it out. I just think it's such a classic. Jason Voorhees is so iconic. His story, how he wants to get revenge on, you know, it's just how, like, she wants to get revenge for her son. It's so cool, and this movie is just a classic in my eyes. Personally, one of my favorite, obviously, slasher films of all time. Honestly, no slasher movie, no horror movie, no movie can ever be my favorite movie of all time. How many times can I say movie? In 1st place, my favorite slasher horror film of all time, my favorite movie of all time. Even though it's a generic, unoriginal answer, Halloween! I love Halloween. Whenever I tell someone, like, my favorite movie is Halloween, they're like, what? I thought your favorite movie was Mean Girls. Like, they don't expect me to, like, say my favorite movie is a horror film, let alone Halloween. You know, it kind of catches people off guard, but Halloween has always been, like, one of my favorites. It's always been, you know, my favorite. It's always been a movie that I love to watch during Halloween time all year round. I'm sorry, like, I just realized that there's a noise coming in. Oh, don't you guys love my background mess of clothes piled up? Great. I love Halloween. It's, even though this is a lot of people's favorite movie. Michael Myers is just so iconic to me. The kills, the silence of the film, the simplicity of it, it just makes it so creepy and an amazing film. I've talked about this movie on my main channel, so I did a whole review about it. So if you want to know, like, more in depth why I love it so much, you could check it out on my main channel. But this video is already long enough, so I'm just going to cut it off here. That was my top 10 favorite slasher movies of all time. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. I will talk to you all next Friday.